tuning in, who is listening to this conversation. So, welcome to my show, Cafe Log with Naga. Let's get started with the today's topic, which is corporate conscience, doing business for good. So, I have the special guest today, who is my dear friend, and I've seen her work on this topic for. I mean, it's her passion, and she spent a lot of time in research. So, Dr. Meghana Shashidhar. So let's welcome her to the show, and then we can get quickly started. So the whole point of having this conversation today is to actually find our purpose. So it's not just the corporate conscience, but how do we as an individual find purpose in what we're doing. So that's what Meghna has found in her journey with corporate social responsibility and sustainability, and how she is helping the organizations do business for good, and also impart the knowledge across people who she's working with. And I've inspired by her journey and what she has done, and how she's inspiring other women too. So let's welcome Dr. Meghna Sashidhar to the show. Hi Meghna, welcome to
Hi,
my show.
Naga. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for giving your Sunday evening. I'm really happy to have you part of my show, Cafe Log with Naga. So um, so what else? What else? I mean, this again, it's a Women History Month, and I've been doing conversation with a lot of inspiring, women in the different part of the world. But again, who other than you could make justice on this topic, which you're passionate about? So thanks
Thank
once
you.
again.
Yeah, thank you for your kind words, Naga. So happy Women's Month, everybody, and happy Holi as well, right?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
glad to be
happy
here.
Holi.
Really, I'm really glad to be here. So, yeah, Naga.
Okay. I mean, I did introduce you. I mean, I think I know we've been working together for a while, and then I said at least some conversations actually sparkle so quickly. So I don't think whenever we talk after so much time, or probably we've not talked for months, it's just we always start where we left, right? So there's kind of a spark which I don't really get with many people. So you're one such a wonderful person where I know it's like, okay, I can anytime talk, but we always end up talking from where we left, and it's easy to continue. And I think our journey in driving back like has been so much good conversations. So you've been a very good friend. I mean, it's not like we have to talk daily, but then we still know how we connect.
Yeah,
uh, you know
I agree. I
it's
agree.
wonderful to
I
have you.
agree.
But I want to start with you on to hear from you the other side of Meghna, not what we see inside office or in the corporate world. Like, let's start your journey of from your childhood. How Meghna is. I know you. Nobody will believe that she's so humble, and for her achievements, what she has done, and be it academic and what she's been doing. And I have seen that very closely, and the initiatives what you have taken. So, but I want to hear from you. How did you end up in this world of corporate social responsibility and sustainability? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's start from your childhood, and what
yeah.
what was your passion that time, and how did you?
Yeah.
Uh,
So before getting into the childhood, right? A little bit about myself. Who doesn't know me, right? So it's 15 years of professional experience, and I've had the privilege of helping organizations to plan, design, and implement impactful sustainability and CSR strategies. So I have been honored with a doctorate for my research work, titling "Leveraging CSR and Sustainability to achieve the tangible business and as well as the social goals. I'm also very passionate about nurturing future leaders and also guiding research scholars. So I keep visiting universities as a guest lecturer. And I serve as advisory board member for many universities as well as NGOs. Now, outside the work, I believe in living the life fully. So whether it is dancing or trekking in the nature or travel, or enjoying the music, experimenting in the kitchen or getting lost in a good book or staying fit, I think I bring my passion and balance to personal life as well. So this is something is what is very close to my heart. And coming to my childhood, right? It's absolutely a roller coaster, I should say. To be honest, my mother, she was crowned as Miss Circe. Okay,
No.
the prettiest, and she was involved in NCC guides and sports, whatnot. And she was having this most soulful voice, and she used to sing with the harmonium. And I still remember those melodies, right? But sadly, she passed away when I was just 3 year old, and it was devastating for sure. But as they say, sometimes strength is born from the toughest moments,
Mm.
right? My father really became my anchor, and he gave me space to grow, pushed my limits, and taught me to crave my own path, especially during this time. And I was lucky to have this big family, loving family, and especially my grandparents, my teachers, who always encouraged and kept my spirits high. So I have been driven, and always studious, focused, hungry to make something out of every opportunities that comes my way. And even after marrying young, right, I kept going, and thanks to super supportive husband. And later my kids also, they understood my drive and ambitions, and they were the biggest cheerleaders. So to sum it up, right, this early experience made me really resilient. And I learned early on that life throws curveballs at you, and you have to navigate them. And honestly, it set the tone for the rest of my life, Naga.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
that's it about my
wonderful.
childhood.
Yeah, it's very touching. I know that how you've. It's not easy to come this far and talk about. Definitely, what you've gone through when losing your mom in your childhood is definitely devastating. I think nobody should go through, but after that, bouncing back and trying to get back, and I mean, it's not easy. And I see your determination to getting the PhD and then continuing. Yeah, as you said, I think that's an inspiration to a lot of women around. So yeah, definitely, I think you are so strong. So keep that strength with you. That's your spirit. I think moving to today's topic, right? I want to bring the purpose. Um, I mean, which something which I really strongly believe and I allow, and I think we both connect on that as well a lot when we talk. The topic is corporate conscience, right? Why I'm bringing back again is that uh, you are a fan of Ikigai. I mean, not fan, I would say, like so much believe in Ikigai. So I strongly believe in that. So I want to flash that for everybody, right? The importance of knowing that, right, for the audience. And probably I want you to hear from you, Meghna, right? So when we wake up in the morning, right, what is that, which gets us going on for the whole day? So that's very, very important, to me. What is that your soul satisfying work? And I talked to multiple people, right? I think in one of my earlier conversation with Justin Barker. So I mean, I was so inspired by what he keeps doing in today, even today, on contributing back to society, right? And then if you look at the book and how the centenarians live, so every even at 100 or 100 above when you're living, so what is the purpose of you waking up? There should be some sense of purpose. So I think it's important that you're part of that in a society where everybody is more selfish. I wouldn't say everybody, at least there are definitely people who don't, we just sometimes forget to think about what's happening around and very focused on what we need to do. So it's important that bringing that social responsibility into the way of, it's as a way of life. It's definitely I mean, close to you to choosing that path or taking that as a profession, right? So I want to bring that. I mean, you see this Ikigai. I mean, I know you're very, very passionate about it. So let's please talk about what comes to your mind.
Okay, so instead of directly touching the topic, Ikigai, right, I would like to tell more stories, and you will know how I shifted from finance to CSR,
Yeah.
and what is driving me right
That
day
that
in and day
that's
out.
also my question. From an MCOM gold
Okay.
medalist, from an
So you
MCOM gold
don't
medal,
believe,
and
you
then
don't
to jump to CSR.
so you don't believe after my marriage, right? I took 10 years break, right? I took 10 years to completely be present with my children, and soaking into the family life. But there was a little voice inside me, started nudging me and saying that, hey, there is something more. Okay. At the time, I was successful in the college as a lecturer, but something I was craving that, I should be not only teaching what is there in the textbook, but I should be adding knowledge to that particular textbook, right? That was hitting me. And, it's funny how paths evolve, right? So my PhD journey took me from finance to CSR, and I think that is the best decision that I have ever made, right? When I pitched three research ideas to my board, CSR and sustainability stood out. Okay, this was in 2014, and right when India had just mandated CSR.
Hmm.
But I kept wondering, why we should be forcing companies, like when we have Tata's, Reliance, so many of them who are already doing philanthropy, or in a big way, right? Voluntarily, that too. So I wanted to dig deeper to understand the real intrinsic value that the CSR brings to the organization beyond the compliance, as a driver of the social impact and innovation and long term business sustainability. Luckily, the board of studies also saw the same potential, and that's where my journey into this space truly began. Okay. Now I'll tell you about little about what is my PhD about, so that you will get to know why I'm so interested, right? So, when I found, it was just about,
So
it
you're
was
going to
not
talk about.
just about,
I'll just interrupt a bit. You're going to talk
yeah.
about the famous the Neem project, and
Yeah,
right. So I
I
yeah.
can talk about
Go
it.
ahead.
But before that, there is a framework. There is more to what people see on the ground. Only the initiative, implementation part of it. But there is strategy part of it. There is framework. Actual planning going behind all of these things, right? So I found that it wasn't just about giving the money. It was about creating a framework, a structured approach that integrates CSR into the very fabric of the organization to drive the innovation. And that framework, right? That framework, well, it involved a few key elements, and each of these topics that I'm going to tell you is the chapter in my book, which is, the thesis, right? So first of all, the design thinking. I did this study 10 years ago. Um, and first, I understood that design thinking element in this CSR space is very much needed to understand the needs of the communities that we are serving, right? The second step would be the consensus building, ensuring that all the key stakeholders are on the board and they are involved in decision making, right? And I also did a deep dive into the project management and implementation, because good intentions mean nothing without effective
Yeah.
execution, right? And crucially, the impact measurement part. I really wanted to move beyond the standard quantitative and qualitative metrics. So, what I did was, in my research, I applied the observational studies, the mixed methods, and leading indicators, really digging into why behind these numbers, right? And then, of course, there is something called as responsible communication. So how do you share your good work without crossing the line into marketing and the PR aspect? So that's a critical balance, right? Now I also looked, as my last step in the framework is benchmarking in the social sector. So understanding how to learn from and improve upon the best practices. So first two stages, that is design thinking and consensus building, are very critical. And once you get it right, there is no looking back at all. Benchmarking for CSR, I'm telling you, is practically yet to shape in the organizations, but rest all other aspects are now practiced with various degrees. Now it's essential also to look into the fact that these are the looks linear, but it is chronological in nature, and it is incredibly adaptable for all the focus areas in the social areas, right? Social impact areas. So I followed Wayne Dunn, David Carroll, Edward Freeman, John Elkington, who are all, I'm connected with them on LinkedIn, and I keep following their work now also. I followed their early groundwork, stakeholder theory, triple bottom line. So this got to me in depth into the CSR and sustainability aspect, and it's almost 10 years of CSR mandate, and companies have kind of moved beyond just fulfilling statutory obligations. They have evolved into more strategic effort to create long lasting social and environmental impacts, I should say. So Naga, if you leave me, I can talk about it the whole day.
I'm not I'm not interrupting, that's why. So yeah, so I think I see that your purpose. So if I have to summarize, right, I think you're driven from childhood in terms of the and then whatever you've taken, probably the sense of making sure that you're putting your 100% on that, probably after 10 years of break and coming back. I think there should be definitely some purpose for which you need to really contribute and come back. So I think I see that the purpose is actually how you want to bring back, I mean, give back to society and try to contribute towards some ways, even if part of working in the organization, towards this initiative of CSR, right? So I think that has driven you to come back. So I can say that probably your ikigai is to actually follow your passion towards this, right? While as you see, it's also as paying you for what you're contributing toward the society. So it is definitely a meaningful contribution, right? So that's end of day, it's important. So which I strongly believe in, right? I
So
mean,
that was with respect to my PhD, right? Now, if I come to organization per se, right? Doing good to society helps organizations or institutions in a very different ways. It may be unlocking new opportunities, right? It also paves the way for growth, expansion, and innovation, and customers, right? There will be strong customer relationships. I've seen that there is employee productivity increase, there is
mm,
a lower employee turnover, builds collaboration and inclusivity among the workforce, and also it builds the brand loyalty, right? And the flip side of it, that is, if you don't manage ESG or
mm,
sustainability or CSR properly, it's a cost to the company. So how, if you ask me how, penalties, right? Reputational damages, loss of customers, failure to gain the project approvals, and there can be strict scrutiny by the government as well. So there are so many minute elements interwoven inside all of this, but if you look at the data as well, right? 66% global consumers are ready to pay more for sustainable brands today. 83% of employees, right, they are more loyal to the company that helps to contribute to social and environmental
mm,
issues. So a lot of research has gone into it,
yeah,
and both personal as well as, all of these say that, okay, it's about real tangible benefits of doing business for good, which means you do earn profits, lot of profits, but equally invest in social and environmental aspects.
yeah. Okay, so let's move from
Yeah.
our conversation of ikigai to the other now we've said that it is important to have, I mean, I just brought this topic also to connect the dots, like why we are doing this conversation is about not just creating corporate conscience or awareness of this the social responsibility, but because it is there, it has been, I mean, from 80s it is there, but then how it is last 10-15 years have actually, companies have put an effort in terms of bringing this as an initiative, as you say, sometimes checking the box versus doing it really for the benefit of the organization, right, involving the people. So going to the next going to the other conversation about give me some. I mean, I know we you touched upon a briefly about the Neem project. So the intention of the Neem project, let's come to that, right? The intention of the Neem project is actually to bring up development of rural women, right? So how do we have projects which enables the enablement of women empowerment and development, right? So some of the projects are very critical. I think you would have read about how Bari Devi has been the you know how she has taken responsibility of actually today what we have as the posh in all the organization, the posh act. She's the person responsible for bringing that. So right, so I mean, I just wanted to get, get that perspective from you in terms of how the transition has been, right? Let's say how what you have seen, the real examples of the impact made by the Neem project or other projects of real examples. I want to probably bring your experience, right? I mean, you have seen in person of that changes or how
Yeah.
people have evolved, right? So maybe bring some examples, be it Neem project one if you want to talk about, or any other examples where it really has touched you through the journey of in this process.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I think all this while we were talking more about the strategy, the framework part of it. Now coming towards the initiatives, right? Um, I think initiatives. If I reflect myself and see the highlights, reels, and all of backwards. Um, so I have worked mainly for some of the educational as well as environment related projects wherein employee volunteering has been closely integrated with those projects. Now, these are not just the projects, okay, first of all, these are the stories of individuals making a real difference on the ground. And there are, I was part of many initiatives, but these are some four initiatives which I closely relate to, right? And I also see that they are a kind of reflection of the company's deeply held values and their commitment to making a positive change in the world, right? So first, let's talk about GNFC, Neem Project. GNFC stands for Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers. It's a manufacturing company in Gujarat. This initiative actually transformed lives. It focused on empowering rural women and also by reviving the traditional neem usage. You know the neem trees, right? Neem trees and neem seeds. It's about creating that economic independence for the rural women. So these women used to do household work in the rural areas and they would never come out of the house, never thought about working, right? So our job was to go to the houses, village houses, talk to them, explain about the project, about the company, why we are doing that, and what is the benefit that they are going to get, and how are they going to help their family in turn. All that they need to do was come out during the neem season. We had our vehicle, we took them to the forests where they collected all the neem seeds, which was going waste, right? They collected the neem seeds and they came, and that was purchased by the GNFC. So women used to earn money, livelihood, right? Their empowerment, and then the neem seeds collected was used to extract the oil, and it was used to coat the urea because government had mandated for 100% neem oil coating for the entire urea that we produced, right? And also some of the byproducts of the neem were manufactured, and that was again got into the self-help groups, and they sold it, and they used to earn money. So that means, to me, this was like taking ancient wisdom, that is neem usage, and also giving it a modern impactful twist. There are stories where women helped their families in doing their son's marriage, in continuing their children education, buying the gifts for their children.
Yeah.
So many stories were there, right? So this was all about Neem Project. Now, the next project that was close to my heart was Green Clean Nandi. This is a MBRDI project, a 5-year initiative, which was aimed at restoring the natural splendor of Nandi Hills, right? You must be knowing Nandi Hills, which is close to our Bengaluru, right? So here we focused on enhancing the biodiversity, whether it may be cleanup drives, increasing the pooled water, construction of the check dams, increasing the green cover on the Nandi Hills, plastic generation, stopping that, and all of these things. But here, to me, it was like the larger purpose was like, tackling the whole ecosystem, right? So that gave me that aha moment whenever I saw the impact on the ground, and we used to go. The entire team used to go there and be involved along with the employees, whether it may be, constructing the bunds or whatever. So that was one, another initiative
I think
that
that's
was.
that. I mean, it would have taken probably it should have been implemented, or planned and implemented as a project. Like, I mean, it could have gone for months to.
It was 5 years initiative,
Yeah.
but I was there for about a year or so, and it was wonderful. It was one another project I should tell you. It is called Mobile Kids, and it was all about road safety awareness program for children.
Mm.
So employees along with the children would go around the schools to see what is missing on the road, whether it may be potholes, whether it may be, they did the audit basically, whether is there the road signs, zebra crossing is there or not, is there that road reflectors being installed or not. All of these things children used to do along with the employees. Now, empowering these kids to make the road safety, that was like uh, another level, right? So I felt it was very ambitious, and the project had a large scope for sure. So I was basically driven because to create that safer environments to the children, right? So that's also a wonderful project, and I should talk about bringing smiles, right? It's the flagship project of Brillo, and we focus on fostering the love of learning and exploration among the young children. So children, especially in the government schools, we provide digital literacy skills, STEM learning, STEM education is provided, scholarships are provided. We do remedials, we do Olympiads. To me, it's about building that strong foundation for the child's future success. So the purpose, the initiative, the purpose, that's where is the Ikigai, right? And I should also tell you, working in all these initiatives, I felt that okay, 1 + 1 + 1 is not 3; it is 101, because to make these 111, to make this big changes, right? It is like we need villager,
Mm.
entire village, to make this change happen, right? So that's what they say. So yeah, I think
That's
that's a perfect Ikigai.
wonderful. I think it. I mean, it is sometimes you actually live through those experiences, right? It might be a goosebump moment when you actually think about it. Okay, these are some active and initiatives and contributions we have actually done. When you look back, such moments you can cherish for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
role in this space has been incredibly gratifying, Naga.
mm,
And more than giving back to the society, I feel that these initiatives are giving me more and making more of myself, right? And it's always been children. Children are my strength and my weakness, both. Okay. So I really, really feel privileged for having been part of and contributing to these novel initiatives.
yeah, I think when you said 1 + 1 + 1 is not equal to 3 is 103. So I want to bring this. I think
111. It's
no,
111.
no, I wanted to bring this as another perspective to it, right? So there's this book from Ellen Langer about the mindful body. So she says, I mean, her whole theories, what I mean, if you really understood the mindfulness concept, you will start questioning about certain things what you're being told traditionally. So 1 plus 1 is typically, if I ask you a question, 1 plus 1 is equal to what would be your answer?
1 plus 1 is not 2, it's 11.
Yeah. Okay. So I think, see, this answer comes from more of an understanding of mindfulness. So 1 plus 1 typically mathematically, it's always people say that okay, 1 plus 1 is 2, but it is only mathematical,
Yeah,
way of addressing that. But 1 plus 1 is not always 2, right? So
yeah,
one, if you actually add a one glass of water and then another glass of water together, so one it will be another again a glass of water as long as it's full. And then if you add, a one cloud plus another cloud, it's still a cloud. So I think there is a way of looking at it, right? Being mindful. When you said 1 plus 1 plus 1, I actually wanted to bring this up as an example to say and how you can be more mindful on a day to day, when you're living, and to actually question what you've already been taught and see how you can actually bring that perspective, right? Not just think that whatever you know is right always. So that becoming mindful and challenging that is very powerful, and it's more of self evoking, um, self awakening as well. So I think that's why I wanted to bring that specific example, right? So how you can be more mindful. So and again, it comes from a lot of practice. And thanks for sharing all that, right? It's really, I mean, a lot of times people, I wanted to, when we say corporate social responsibility, I want to bring another. I was reading about an article, um, about individual social responsibility. So I think there is something about. I mean, if we look at the leading tech companies or even non-tech, from a CSR research report which I looked at, there is almost 2023 and report. Most of the 80% of the companies actually contribute towards the see 75 leading tech companies spearhead are CSR projects, right? So almost, with majority adopting foundation models, 83% is what I read. In tech companies, 83% has adopted the foundation models, spending more than 2% of their profits. So which is actually 1.27% higher than the non-tech companies. So again, the percentage is not that high, 2% of the profit they are spending, but then it is still 1.27 percentage, higher than the non-tech companies. So basically what we see is the but it is actually an increase of 22% from 2022 if you look at it right now. But what we see is, there's a gap. What I observed is, I think, almost the amount of money spent in billions, but then whether it is reaching the way in which it is supposed to reach the right audience, and then how it has to be transpired, that is more through the execution, as you talked about, right? So a lot of times, I think there is this one of the there is this concept which I noted down, right? I just want to bring it to you and then get your opinion on it. Is that you clearly talked about how did you do this? So um, and let me bring that up, right? So the way in which we are doing map, plan, execute, when it comes to, so basically the companies can have goals, but then if you're not mapping your goals in terms of actionable plan and then trying to implement it and constantly measure the outcome, right? As you said, benchmarking of CSR is still an ongoing initiative. So that if it is not happening, then that is where the contributions are not translating into the actual output. And then how an individual person in the organization, as well, or an employee or in a society, can be an individual socially responsible person to actually start
yeah,
contributing, like, to a lot of today. If you look at it, let's say if somebody falls in the road today, if you look, I mean, I can guarantee this, Ricardo, you have seen in the road, almost out of 100 people looking at, one person will come, the rest all will do a TikTok or probably a live video. So I can tell, that's the kind of social responsibility we have come become. So I think you will agree to what's happening around, right? So it's more on the making digital content is the important than the
yeah,
social
exactly. Yes.
what is happening in front of me is important, right? That differentiation is
Yeah.
very uh, important to make people aware. So I mean, I just want to bring this individual social responsibility as well,
Yeah,
part
I
of.
mean, too many elements, right, Naga? The data. So instead of getting into the narrower aspect as to IT company, manufacturing company, automobile,
Hmm,
or pharma, instead of that, let's look into the overall the picture, right? So India's CSR spend last year, that is 2024, was
for
around 30,000 crores, and it's increasing. Okay, it's increasing 12 to 13% every year.
every year. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And at least 13,000 companies are spending more than 2%, which is a very good sign, right?
Yes,
So philanthropy itself is 1.2 lakh crore in India. And now CSR is also racing. So imagine the resources that's going to be available. The problems are very complex, and we need such kind of, involvement. Now, if you look at the whole picture, there is that fundamental shift in how we are seeing the role of business in society. You definitely agree with that, right? So we are moving beyond the profit at any cost to, I think, purpose driven prosperity now,
hmm,
right? So that's how, 13,000 companies are spending more than 2% now. um, the aha factor here is that the function is directly working with the C level in the companies. Majority of the companies are having their own independent CSR and sustainability function, and companies, based on their strengths and risk factors, they develop their initiatives and track the impact with definite KRAs, with definite indicators, qualitative and quantitative. And it is directly related to SDGs, that is social developmental goals.
yes,
So whether it may be number of children that you're reaching, whether it is number of women that you are going to help, how many trainings you are doing, how many teachers are involved. There are so many audits that is happening. Minister of Corporate Affairs, we report to them. There is CSR form 1, 2. So many compliances and governance aspects is also there at the back end, right? So it is evolving. I think, also we should talk about the involvement of AI now, AI and tech. We are converging, we are converging into impact assessments, and how to make the project is there. It is already successful. How are you going to make it accessible to the larger society? There is no point in reinventing the tool, right?
yes.
We already have the successful initiatives. Why don't we
How
take
do you
it to the
replicate? Yeah.
yeah. So that's about the domain, how it is evolving and where it is going. When we talk about individual responsibility, there is a lot to say. But see, the thing is, there is sustainability, there is CSR, and there is ESG. I would like to highlight this aspect. Earlier, CSR was included in sustainability. Now, environment is exclusively called as sustainability.
Yes.
But how I see sustainability is wider aspect. It's very large, including both ESG as well as CSR under its umbrella, right? Now, when you talk about social sustainability, there are several elements. It can be DNI, it can be employee welfare, it can be labor rights, it can be employee engagement, so many aspects. Again, if you talk about environment sustainability, there are different buckets like sustainable finance, it can be net zero, carbon reduction, and there can be decarbonization, there can be biodiversity
Yeah.
conversation, the reporting elements, so many supply
Even
chain
there's a
management.
bio defense projects, especially for part of the CSR and ESG.
Yeah. So many elements, right? So even section 135, that is also, every year is being the scope has been widened for CSR as well. So it's going in a right way, and we are all, very happy to be part of it. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, it's nice to hear and know a lot of things which is happening, right? And trying to contribute at least a drop in that, would be self. I mean, I would say self-sufficient, or at least something beyond what you're doing as a day-to-day work, which is important. So that is
I think
nice
collaboration
to
is
hear. Yeah.
going further. Collaboration is going to be key
Hmm.
as we try to scale up. And otherwise, ESG is evolving and there is larger scope. Yeah.
I wanted to, while we talked too much of
You
um, you
remember?
know,
You
good.
remember Naga, the museum visit, the online teachings,
Yes.
all that you did
And
when
then
you
the
were
and
planning
yeah,
events,
the books, the audio books,
audiobooks,
the initiatives for um, visually
visually
impaired.
handy. Yeah, impact.
So it is so powerful, right? Some of the initiatives are, I would say, more than you can't put words for it, for sure. You can't really describe your feeling in an English dictionary, for sure. So I'm trying to be thinking of something which is beyond that. So I mean, I would say being part of such projects is very, very, soul fulfilling. But again, there's much more to do. The other, I mean, I am trying to move away. While we talked about a lot of good things, I know that definitely this topic itself brings a joy and happiness, and probably glory and gratification and all that. I want to put a bit of controversial, right? But again, more more not to bring you into controversy. But the question
No,
is, see,
I
while
agree.
ESG and CSR, like, okay, hey, we are good people, we are doing a lot of good initiatives and all that, right? But then sometimes there are companies, I mean, there are you see, I'll bring up some example. Like, you see the large constructions, buildings which is happening, even you have seen, and then the people who work for them and doing that, I mean, you look at their kind of well-being, how much of that, while they probably use a lot of sustainable products to build and all that, but then the people who spend do the actual work, or actually living in very, very um, conditions which are not at all in a conducive manner. So while companies trying to put a lot of effort on that side of the showing up, okay, this is what I'm spending, and building sustainable products and using them, but then what happened to the people who are actually contributing, any organization, for example, right? The 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 concept of people, empathy, and being more responsible towards the people who are actually being part of the organization, which requires a lot of top down thought leadership, correct? So do you
Yeah.
see that? I think you want to, I don't want you to take examples or anything, but I just want to talk about it as a subject, right? Because it's important to bring that awareness about, while we say, okay, we are doing good outside, but what are we doing inside?
Yeah. So I think varied perspective, right? Companies do CSR with the focus areas which they have strength, right? Like
Mm,
if there is construction company, they will go for infrastructure development because they have their strength already. They have their networks, they have the resources. So it will be easy for them to provide infrastructure to any school or any underserved community, right? So, based on their focus area and also the framework of Section 135 of Companies Act, they'll go select the areas, and also they will also see that how far or how close it is to the company, or how close it is to the location that is also kind of um, selected, right? Because the involvement, the monitoring, all of this counts, because every 1 rupee that you are investing in social aspect also counts. There is ROI, there is SROI, that is social return on investment. So for every 1 rupee that you are investing, what is the return that you are getting, even in the social impact element, right?
mm.
So when these things are there, the company definitely has to take into consideration all the stakeholders. So whether it may be builders, their families, the laborers that they are working. That's why I said it, the involvement, the second step, right? The consensus building where all the key stakeholders are brought in together, onboarded, and they're involved. That is the key element. Otherwise, there will be no accountability, there will be no responsibility, right? If you are giving, there is no end to it.
Yeah.
How is you are making the stakeholder accountable for what you are giving? That sense of responsibility has to be installed, and that is why corporates or organizations are bringing forth their skills to kind of bring that equity among the key stakeholders that those are involved. I hope I answered your question.
Okay. I think to an extent, but but largely, I think no, I know it's a bit touchy topic, but I don't want to put you into trouble. But I think the point is that I wanted to uh, make this awareness into some of the leadership that while the corporate social responsibility is not just something outside, it's also inside,
Yeah,
where the
leaders
well-being
are
of
very
the
much
well-being the
involved.
well-being of the employees, how
Yeah,
much we are uh, you know understanding their well-being, or what they are going through, how what is happening in their life, how much you are aware of your people, right? And trying to be more mindful about being responsible and trying to be there for people who you're responsible for it. That is also an important aspect of that brings the contribution as well, right? When more and more employees trying to contribute in terms of these initiatives, right? So it is not just that there is a mandate they have to. It is more for uh, volunteering. They see something which as a purpose in doing that contribution beyond their hours of work what they have to. So which means there is a lot of dedication and commitment which comes outside of the work. So there is a stress there in terms of balance. So consciously being aware of that is very, very important, is what I wanted to bring it. So I hope you agree.
yeah, yeah. See, employee volunteering is very much, intricated in the CSR projects. So you go, you do the need analysis, you give the project, you get it running, all that is fine. But in order to bring out that impact, the desired impact, right? Employees play a key role. Their day-to-day involvement, their ownership matters a lot, because that's how employees are also the key stakeholders. They will be having different skills, they will be having different perspectives, and we never know how people connect and how what sort of impact is created,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you the
Absolutely.
example, right? There are employees who were new to the company, and they were yet to be onboarded on the projects. They were in the training and things like that. But when they heard about the initiatives, right, they straight away came to us and they were like, what can we do for this project? Okay, I'm good at chess, I'm good at singing, I'm good at guitar, I'm good at teaching, I'm good at maths, I'm good at Vedic maths. How can we give back to the society? So Gen Z's, especially, they are very keen, glad that they are coming forward and inspiring others also to step up and give their time and skill for these initiatives, which is more holistic, right?
Yes. No, I see that. I see that welcome change in people in the current generation in terms of trying to be part of these contributions and being more involved, which is
Yeah,
definitely welcoming change.
yeah.
So I wanted to move away from this boring, putting you only questions on about CSR and trying to change a bit or digress a bit towards your family. So I know I'm not sure most of the people outside or people who are working with you also know that you have two wonderful grown up kids. So you're like a santur mom. Right? So which so I think not many
Okay.
knows that her daughter is in medicine.
Yeah.
So it's probably she's in second year.
Yeah,
second
first year
year,
medicine.
first
First
year
year medicine.
medicine, and then the son is in also like second year uh,
Engineering. Yeah.
engineering. So I mean, talk. I mean, how did it? I mean, I know that you also mentioned that the your daughter taking a medicine was really like a
Yeah.
sudden surprise, and she was so determined to do, and it has just happened like that. So I mean, talk about them and how they see CSR as from you, right? I mean, probably you've been doing it for a while when they were child, so they've been part of the journey throughout and understanding what is so I mean the sense of responsibility they would have gotten from you, and also I think more pressure as well in terms of being part of this journey, how they're seeing it, and talk about them.
Okay, it's always a delight to talk about children. So, yeah. Uh, so Vishal, my son, he's into IIT Guwahati. He's doing his engineering second year, and daughter is Sanika. She is doing her medicine. It was an interesting story, right? They both were right from the beginning good at academics. So I did not have to I really did not have to strain myself to tell them, okay, study well, study well. I had to tell them, okay, study less. Please come out, play, let's go to movie, let's go out. I was of that sort, trying to kind of make the environment a little lighter, uh, keep them relaxed, ensure that they are eating the right food, sleeping at the right time, because if they're if they're inside the room with their books, they will never know. 2 days, 3 days continuously, they keep on working. So that's how they have been, and I'm really blessed and thankful, full of gratitude that they are into this profession. And you know it's a wonderful story. So both were going for engineering coaching, and daughter, once she comes back and says that, okay, I want to change from medicine, I've already changed, right? I've already changed from medicine coaching. And we were like, okay, we were shocked. But I think it's a true calling for her. She aspires to become a heart surgeon, and she's enjoying her the classes and the course very much now. Coming to CSR and responsibility, yeah, they have been involved in couple of projects. Like my daughter is mentoring one child in Mangalore, and they have built Connect now. And she also did audiobook recording, like you did, Naga, and she's very proud of it, right? And same way with the son, he's also mentoring scholarship students, and he did do the voice recording, that is the audiobook recording again. And they also did content creation. So
Hmm.
basically it is creating syllabus friendly question banks, or it can be the quizzes, or creating some icebreakers for the children. So they have been doing all of these things. And recently daughter came for blind cricket match as well. So once in a year, it's been a tradition in the family that we all get into a social impact initiatives as a family together. That also gives a different bonding. And I'm super proud of the parents out there who encourage their kids to come out and develop this sense of responsibility right from the young age.
No, I think it's like instead of going to I mean, I know I'm not saying that don't go to movies or don't go to anything, any entertainment, but I'm saying that some of the portion of the time you spend to contribute to such initiatives, or as a family, it's definitely worth doing it. I mean, the value what you sow in them, it's really important when they grow up to be more independent and in trying to give back to the society, right? So kudos to you in terms of instilling that thought and doing that along with your children. So good to see such parent. I mean, you're also inspiring a lot of people like me or people to do that and all along with your kids, right? So that's it's very very important. Thanks for sharing that. um I think the I want to also talk about few inspire. I mean, I think you see a lot of inspiring people, both men and women, or anybody who is contributing in their own capability or capacity across the world, right? But certain people you strike a chord, and the amount of wisdom and just by looking at what they've done is like, I mean, it's
It's incredible.
very
Yeah.
very inspiring. And also you don't, I mean you don't find such many people like that. Like, I wanted to bring Saalumarada Thimmakka
Yeah.
as one such person. I've been very so much moved by what she has done, and being, I mean, with all the wisdom and knowledge what we get and the kind of place where we're in, and to contribute something uh, meaningful from whatever the time what we have. We talk a lot. I mean, we just try to
Yeah.
market and say we doing this, that, and a lot of pictures and things like that. I mean, but what she has done from such a humble background, and I mean, talk about. I know that she's also your inspiration, right? And when I think so, a lot of things which connects us also on certain topics is like this. So I really sometimes I feel that it's just a thought, or maybe something beyond the telepathy, right? So I wanted to, I mean, just talk about that, right? What do you inspire from that strong woman? And then I see when she walked up to get the award from
Yeah.
president.
You picked up very nice way. I never expected that, you talk about her. But yeah, I mean, she is, I think, a very good shining example for what an individual, the power of individual action, right? Also, that sort of dedication. She planted 8,000
Yeah.
or 10,000, I'm not sure about the number, 10,000 banyan trees across Kodur district in Karnataka, at that age, right? So I think that's what is required now. We are at that step, wherein I'll have to plug in the charger. Just a minute. Sorry. Yeah. So we are at that point where we have the threat already at the doorstep. The climate change is very
Yes.
very severe, and we need people like more and more people like Saalumarada Thimmakka, right? Um, you know, there are a lot of things, mindful things that one we talked about individual effort, right, Naga?
Yes.
So I had some data here, which are like daily
Very
relatable,
small things. Yeah.
daily relatable examples. It surprises us, okay, but they're very very impactful and help reduce our individual carbon footprint, which is the key factor or the crucial element in today's world. So
Yeah,
I
before
think,
you open that list,
yeah,
right? Because the reason why also we were chatting and we were deciding to actually bring that as is very important is that a lot of times
yeah, I
uh,
made
with
some research.
educated and so many people who are educated, I think the awareness is very less
Yeah,
on such topics. So
yeah,
I definitely wanted to. That's why we were chatting. I said, okay, I'm going to bring this up. So I think now you taking the cue. So I'm very happy to listen to. So I
yeah.
think I have to add on, but please go ahead.
Yeah. So, see, the truth is that the last 8 years have been warmest, right? It has been very hot. It is tangible. That problem is tangible. It is visible, whatnot. So climate change is not somewhere distinct. It is
Yep.
there already. It is there, right? So there are certain, very simple things that we can do. We can have our green living checklist, not wait for the policies and big things.
Yes.
So let's dive into it. First of all, it's a water, right? According to me, we brush our teeth every morning and we don't even realize that how much fluoride is getting inside us. That's
Exactly.
I think I think we should be conscious about how much water we are using. What is the shower time? The 10-minute shower can actually waste, almost consume 50 liters of water. Okay, the data says that if we cut down to 5 minutes, it's going to save at least 10,000 liters a year, right? So it can be, again, the washing machine that we use, or the dishwashers that we are using. If we just have the eco mode of it, right, we are cutting down energy and water at least 50% of it. So save every drop of water, right? So that's regarding the water. And
And then
coming
I
to,
want to add one more. Like, let's say
yeah,
today's world has moved to more of a the not an Indian. So the toilet system has changed to more of Western. So when you flush, the amount
yeah,
of water which goes in the flush. So I think
exactly.
today this changes happened even 10 years back, like where they're trying to use recycled water for that, connecting to that pipes which is going to the flush, right? So maybe if the conscious effort of making sure your house has that kind of an ability to actually bring the wastewater and bringing back to this such usage, right? So that is a very conscious effort everybody can make if you have an individual home, so to reduce using the water which directly comes for drinking purpose, or you know it's that's also on the water front I want to
At
add.
least those facilities are available now to make
Yes,
the right
yes,
choices.
right
I'm
choices.
happy. I'm really happy about that. Now, Naga, do you remember how our elders walked everywhere? They
Yeah,
took buses, right? Today, transport emission, the data says that it is around 24% of global carbon emission.
good friend, yes.
Okay, so why don't we walk or just cycle the short distances?
Or take a public transport as much
Or a public
possible.
transport, or
Yes.
carpooling, or maybe an EV, right? So this is possible. At least we should do the mindful choice here. Now, if you look at the food that we eat, right, the red meat is said to be the
Carcinogenic. Yeah.
highest carbon footprint emitter, right? So we can go meatless Monday. Why don't we do that, right? So they say that producing 1 kg of beef emits over 27,000 kgs of carbon emission, right? Uh,
The amount of water is required to actually maintain
yeah,
the
as
farm.
against 2.5 kg for chicken and 1.1 kg for the lentils. This
you,
is
you,
the
you and me are going
this
to
is
become
the
you're going to
data.
become a
Not
moral policy, then
dependent.
people are going to tell us we want to eat meat.
So same way, switching to seasonal foods, cutting down the waste, because food waste alone actually counts for about 10% of global emissions.
Absolutely, I agree. And then the most of the time when we go, people just order without knowing that how much they can eat. This is sometimes I see it's very disheartening looking
Yeah,
at that food, and after then they waste, and then and nobody bothers to even take it up and at least give it to somebody who's really starving for food.
yeah,
That's very very disappointing. In such educated community too. I sometimes I feel like telling, but I think okay. Sometimes then you feel, oh, fine. You just have a. Sometimes I try to not be shameful and still go and tell, but and then you have a boundary. Sometimes so yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very very it's a very
Another
common.
example, yeah, another example, Naga. So when was the last time you stitched your clothes and or the outfit and you reused it? Do you remember?
Stitched and reused. I stitched. I think at least converted some of the old into latest wear, so that we have tried. At least we try to, or or even stitching for that matter. With if there is a small hole, use your needle
Yeah.
and sewing to just quickly do that. That at least I try.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I think
So,
it's
so
it's
fast
yeah. I think
fashion.
it's very
That
very
was,
very very. But it's very very uncommon. I don't think so. You can do every
yeah.
time.
And at least my children are not doing it, and I am also not doing it. I should agree, but I wanted to bring this point up. Right, the fast fashion is trendy, right, and it's also major textile polluter, right? They say that today we buy 60% more clothes than 15 years ago and keep them for half as long,
Yeah.
which means we need to repair more, buy less.
Sometimes we
So
don't use it for a long time, and then we spend like so much on one time, and then it's just there in the cupboard.
yeah, and another important element, right, the digital lives, the so-called digital lives have a footprint. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just you do the
Oh, she got disconnected. Okay.
hello.
Yes, no worries. Go ahead.
Okay.
We
So,
we went into a small interruption, but we are back. Yes.
so the digital footprint we were talking about, and streaming 1 hour of HD video, okay, that is actually emitting roughly 100 kgs of carbon emission.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we don't know now we are live
Yeah.
streaming and
Yes.
how much carbon we have
Yes.
emitted, right? So instead of that, if we download the stream, the movie or the series, or reduce the cloud backups, right? Or maybe switch to the green data providers. These are some of the initiatives which we can take to reduce the digital footprint. So these are very simple, right? But the very difficult to change our habits.
But
But
overall,
we,
there is a research going on, Meghna, which is about the electricity usage and
yeah,
which and the water required to actually maintain the actual. We talk about cloud now, the data
yeah,
centers which is required. So
yeah,
now they're trying to build, and they're trying to actually build data centers because there's no now they need more. So the usage of electricity is going to increase at least 20%. Is what it's going to go towards that, and closer to where the electricity is generated. That way, you don't need you can maintain
yeah.
well. So it is actually a upcoming problem too. And I think I
But
read this article about even generative AI.
yeah,
The every time you search, put a prompt, and it answers. So how much of the carbon footprint? I think it is a very very less research
chances.
topic, and there is a research which is in MIT about only the carbon emission about of this whole. AI LLM models which is built, and it's a touchy topic, right? Because everybody wants to move to AI, and it's but there is a conscious effort. But what I'm trying to say is there's a should be a conscious effort to even look at the impacts, pros and cons, and see what we can do to while technology advancements can benefit. How do we reduce the impact through these research and efforts of funding to get understanding of it? Right today, nobody knows.
No, it's still in the evolution,
Yeah.
evolving stage. But say if you go for a trip, and if you come and you just give the data to the chat box, immediately it will say how much is your carbon emission and what you have to do, how much plant you have to, plant, and how are you going to make good of it, right? That's been really useful,
Yeah,
actually.
I think, and today, even if the Amazon, if you just order, there is an option to actually choose a
Choose
carbon
the
less
less
carbon emission
less carbon
way of
emission.
getting the order. So, but
Yeah.
typically everybody orders the instant need, so then they skip it. So, I really
Yeah.
conscious effort to do use that.
Exactly. So they say na, that you have to avoid that overnight deliveries.
Mm, mm, yeah. Okay. I know that we've taken almost an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Going to be, I
yeah,
didn't realize that we've talked a lot. I
yeah. So
so
overall, I think it's all about the awareness and the action that is being in front of us right now.
Okay. So I think
Yeah,
before we wrap up, I think I just had to have. I thought of doing a rapid fire and it's like CSR in 60 seconds like that. But then, okay, I didn't want to continue and
yeah.
having it. So, but I mean, give me top three important aspects of sustainability and CSR, right? But which every organization or as an individual should look at, right? To become more. So, what are your top three things when it comes to ESG or sustainability? Right.
I think the conscious, the conscious fund management. That's the first aspect. Second is the impact measurement, right?
Mm,
The impact measurement is very key, and of course, the third element would be the governance part of it, and as I said, involving all the key stakeholders. So I think these are the three main elements from my perspective. It depends, right?
Yeah.
Depends.
I think we've broadly covered a lot of information and your journey. I'm almost I We touched upon the whole ESG, CSR, and how individually we have to be conscious. I mean, your examples of sustainability, and I had similar things which I had too. So you brought up almost every aspect of day-to-day living, which is very very important for people to be conscious about what they are doing. So I mean, it was such an amazing conversation, and I really enjoyed and talking to you, Meghna, and thank you so much for coming on my show and sharing your journey and your passion about the CSR and sustainability. I learned a lot while continuously learning too. So thank you so much for sharing the wisdom, and you and keep inspiring.
Thank you for having me on your show, Naga. Thank you so much. I
All
enjoyed it.
right. Yeah. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.